right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea Solorzano, and on this channel we talk all things about female empowerment, empowerment in general, self-development, and personal growth. So if you like that type of content, go ahead and like and subscribe. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. This episode is specifically on how to stop people pleasing and to gain your confidence and find your voice. I'm going to be talking about how you do it, where it comes from, and then my story about how I was able to transform to being somebody who was a people pleaser into somebody who owns their voice and is confident. Okay, so first things first. How do you do it? And I'm just looking down just because I'm looking at my notepad here because I wrote down all my tips and tricks and all that stuff. But the first thing I said is in order to stop people pleasing is that you have to actually care more about how you feel rather than how somebody else feels. And I know that sounds very selfish, but let me explain. So when you are people pleasing, let me just first define it. So I looked it up actually in an article from Psychology Today. And so the article talks about 10 signs on how you can spot a people pleaser. So number 1 is you pretend to agree with everyone. Number 2 is you feel responsible for how other people feel. Number 3 is you apologize often. And number 4, you feel burdened by the things that you have to do. Number 5, you can't say no. This was something that I found myself in so often that I could not say no. Number 6 is that you feel uncomfortable if someone is angry with you. That was a huge one for me. I felt like I needed to be liked by everybody in order to have that sense of validation. Number 7 is you act like the people around you. So that was another big one for me. I felt like I could not be myself around other people, so I just needed to act and to just pretend like I agreed with everybody around me when I had my own opinions about certain things. If I didn't want to do something, I would just go along with it just because everybody else felt like that was what we should be doing. Number 8 is you need praise to feel good. We talked about that sense of validation. Number 9 is you go to great lengths to avoid conflict. That is also something that I have struggled with. You do whatever you can to avoid these tough conversations just because you don't know how to have them. You don't want to upset the person, that sort of thing. That is definitely people pleasing. And number 10 is you don't admit when your feelings are hurt. So I feel like a lot of people feel like if your feelings get hurt and if you tell somebody hey, when you did that hurt my feelings, that almost a lot of people believe that makes you look weak, but everybody knows, and it's kind of an unconscious thing that if you're able to articulate your feelings, that is a sense of emotional intelligence. And when you're able to articulate that and act and be vulnerable enough to tell somebody the way you hurt my feelings, that sends a sense of strength in your emotional intelligence, because a lot of the times other people can't really do that for themselves. So going back to what I said was how you do it, and you have to care more about how you feel. What I'm trying to say is that you have to care more about how you feel in your specific opinion that you have about whatever the thing is. So if you feel, I'm just going to give an example. If you and your friends are trying to figure out what movie to go to, and everybody's I want to go see the movie Barbie, and you are just not into wanting to see that movie whatsoever, and then everyone's yeah, let's just go with that, let's go with that, but you're afraid to speak your own opinion about it because you just don't want to seem like you're like just like the weird person in the group who doesn't know how to, or just doesn't want to see the movie because you're afraid of what they're going to say after that, you're going to get some backlash, like, you know, all this stuff. That right there is people pleasing. So in order for you to have the sense of courage to be able to get over that, you're going to need to start off small, and something like owning up to your own personal opinion about how you feel, let's just say this movie, then that is where you start, and you start to build confidence from there and owning your opinions in really anything. So I don't mean in a sense of like, oh yeah, you want to just, you know, override everyone's opinion. And I'm not saying that, you know, kindness is always something that you need to put forth when you're with other people and to yourself as well. But you don't do a good service to anybody if you are not owning your own opinion about things, especially if like you're not intentionally trying to hurt anybody around you, right? So it's really important to be able to own your feelings, because at the end of the day, if you're just trying to, let's just say, if you're trying to tell people like, oh yeah, you're actually into seeing this movie when you're actually not, then it's kind of like a form of like manipulation, and it's actually a really bad habit. And I like to think of it as something like, when I think of people pleasing, like I think of it as like disgusting, because I'm just like, that is like so far away from like who I want to be. I want to be somebody who is owning themselves and owning their individuality. So if I were in a position where I feel like I need to say something just to please the crowd, then like that to me, it just like sends off this like disgust type of like, it just sends off this disgust like receptor in my brain. So, and I feel like that's what you need to get to in order to get over this feeling of needing to please other people. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's just a form of manipulation. You're just trying to manipulate people in order to get them to love you more, to agree with you more, and I know for me, what I was thinking, like when I was in a cycle of people pleasing, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if I say yes, or if I do this for this person, then they're going to remember this in the future. And then in the future, they'll do something for me just because I did that for them. That's manipulation. That's disgusting. Don't do it. Don't even fucking go there. And so that's how you do it. You just have to really start small. And I read that in also that same article, Psychology Today, and I'll link the article below. And it's a really good article, and it talks about like what are the signs, how you can tell, and then what to do about it after. So one of the things is that it says that it's a habit that's probably that is just has been developed. And I just wanted to add on to that, like a lot of the times people pleasing starts off like from like it starts off as a habit when you're a child. So when you are with your parents or, you know, adults, whoever raised you, a lot of the times you're trying to do things for them to make them happy, right? So, and it's like, of course you want to make other people happy, right? Like you want the people around you to be happy, and that makes absolute sense. Like, you know, I know like before, like for me when I was a people pleaser, I felt like I genuinely just wanted to be around happy people. I didn't want anybody to feel like left out or alone or whatever. And so I would just go along with certain people's opinions just to ease the tension. And I feel like that comes from a very like, you know, that comes from a very like nice girl like type of place. But the thing is that again, you're doing a disservice to people when you are not owning your own individuality. Because if you're thinking about it, like imagine if you're trying to teach a child something, right? You're trying to tell a child, and this child is saying that they don't feel like they want to do something. They're afraid of like what other people are going to think of them, and you're their teacher and you're trying to help them own themselves. To like, imagine like how sad that is for a child to be thinking about other people and not be thinking about what they like or what they want to do, right? Like, you wouldn't want to do that upon a child, so why would you want to do that to yourself? Like, it makes no absolute sense. So anyways, like I said, it probably developed from childhood when you're trying to please your caregivers, whoever raised you. And I know for me personally, like I grew up in a religious cult. I had a single mother. My dad left when I was 2, and I was also sexually molested and sexually abused. So like, there's a number of things why I would feel like, oh, I'm a small person, or I like back in the day, I would feel like, oh, I have to do these things in order to get guys to like me. All of these things, like I have a number of reasons to feel like I needed to do certain things in order to please other people, to earn my status, to feel important, all of those certain things. So whatever you're going through, if you are dealing with something like that, first thing I would recommend is therapy, because it's not going to be an easy thing to completely just like disintegrate within just the first couple of days. It's definitely a practice, but I just wanted to expand on that practice and let you know like how I was able to go from there and then totally transform my behavior. And so the way I started to transform my behavior was, like I said, going to therapy and starting off small. And those small things would be as simple as like owning where I want to go. If, let's say, take the movie example, if I want to go somewhere and everybody else is deciding somewhere, I would voice my opinion, and maybe somebody will rebuttal me in that moment. But does that mean that like I need to diminish myself just because I'm going to get a rebuttal? No, like I'm going to own it. And if somebody wants to come up and talk to me about it, or if they want to rebuttal that, then I have, you can come up with like 3 reasons why you would want, like argue with it, like I don't want to say argue, but like rebuttal it, like challenge it and stuff. Because at the end of the day, like challenging other people and challenging yourself, like I said, is like going to help other people, because that, in those challenges, in those stresses, those are things that are actually going to help people grow. That's going to help people think about it differently. That's going to offer a fresh perspective. Like, you're not just going like along with what everybody is saying. You are the black sheep, you are somebody who stands out because you have a different opinion. And that's something to be proud about. You, just because you may not have this, that, or the other, you still earn a spot at the table to be able to come up with your own opinion. And I feel like back in the day, like I felt like, oh, like I have no value. Nobody really wants to listen to me. Like I would have these thoughts like in my head all the time, and it was like I said, it was a bad habit. But at the end of the day, it's like, do I want to keep going down that path, or do I want to change the person that I am now so I can become someone who is confident, who is bold, who is strong, who has a sense of individuality? Because at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to win in life. Like, point blank and simple, despite what you went through. And like I said, I'm not diminishing whatever trauma that you went through. You need to be the person that takes action in order to improve upon wherever you are right now, right? And you don't have to take my advice. You don't have to take any of my suggestions, but I'm just saying, from where I came from to where I am now and where I'm going, like, I know that I could not get anywhere if I stayed stuck on that idea of not feeling good enough, just focusing on trying to make everybody happy, and just believing that my voice does not matter. Right? Like, that is I have to say, that is one of the saddest things to believe, right? And like I said, if you are stuck there, then you will stay stuck there if you don't take action and do something about it. So another thing I would say is like, think about like the person that you want to become, right? Like that's what I did. I would like literally dream about being the type of woman that just like owns who she is. And I would just like take what I can and soak up their everything, like soak up their opinion. I would soak up their posture. I would soak up their body language. I would soak up their looks, like everything that you can learn from these people. Allow yourself to be inspired by these people, inspired by the people that truly like emanate this confidence, this boldness, and this strength. That way you can gather some of that and just study them. You know, when I was still like in that mode of just like absolutely, and I'm always learning, but I was in that informational mode when I was trying to figure out how to get over my people-pleasing habits. I would watch videos of like Michelle Obama, I can't even think of like Oprah Winfrey, like all of these women that like to me displayed this like strength and this confidence. And I know that you have your own role models in mind, so just take what you can from them and whatever you can do, like, you know, read up on what they're doing, like how they were able to do that, where they came from. A lot of biographies also are a good way to help you get over these feelings of unworthiness. And that actually just reminded me that a quote that I found from this Healthline website. It talks about what people pleasing is, and it says, one of the quotes, it says that if you're somebody who's a people pleaser, you're thinking, I am only worthy of love if I give everything to someone else. That is a common belief associated with people pleasing. So Erica Myers, who wrote this, she is a therapist at Bend, Oregon, and this article is about how to stop people pleasing. And I resonated with this like so much because I would truly feel like back in the day that I was meant to be somebody who needed to try very hard to feel loved, right? And people might wonder, like, how do you get to a place where you actually truly feel loved, you feel confident? Like, because I think everybody wants that, right? Like, everybody wants to feel seen. I think that is like a core feeling that people desire, is to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel validated. And honestly, the truth is that you cannot, like, this is what I learned, okay? So again, you don't have to take my advice, but what I learned in my personal experience is that you have to find that within yourself before you can even dream about giving it to other people. And let me explain. So before, when I was in a place of like people pleasing, I was trying to make everybody happy around me. I was, you know, going above and beyond for other people, and people would be like, oh my God, Andrea, like, thank you so much, and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, like, if they were to ask me for another favor, or even after the favor that I did for them, I would feel burnt out. Like, I would feel like, okay, like, I did something good, like, I gave from my heart and stuff, and like, and then they would turn around and they would want something more, and they would ask for something more. And a lot of the times, people are doing this like unconsciously, like they're not trying to take from you. It's just that you're giving off that energy. And so like anytime, so you know how like dogs can like sense things and like hear things that we can't hear? I believe that's the same thing with humans. Like, there are things like in the air, there are things that we can feel that we can't actually like articulate, but like we can, like, we're still feeling them. Like, we still feel that energy. Like, you feel the energy of somebody that you're with who is truly confident, and you also feel the energy of somebody who is like unworthy. And part of that is like, you're not setting those boundaries within yourself. Like, you don't have that love for yourself. And again, that's like no shade on anybody, but it's like you need to take ownership, and it's like, okay, I'm not giving to myself, like I'm not filling my own cup and I'm trying to fill other people's cup, and like that's where I'm going wrong, right? So I need to take the initiative to find ways that I can love myself, right? Find ways that's going to please myself rather than other people. So going back to what I said at first, which was, you know, you have to care more about how you feel about something rather than how somebody else feels about something. I just like talked so much. So this is a pineapple cranberry juice. I love it. Okay, so okay, I want to get into like a story really quick. For example, I started YouTube like literally like a month ago, right? Or 2 months ago or something like that. A couple weeks, I don't remember, but I started it was like towards the end of July, and it's like the beginning of September right now, so about a month. Anyways, so I started YouTube, right? And I'm in a good place. Like, I love my family, I love my boyfriend, I love my friends, like I love everyone around me. I'm in a good place. And I remember when I kind of brought up my YouTube thing, you know, people were like, oh, that's cool, like, okay, like, nice and stuff. But then I started, you know, as I started making more videos and stuff, people are like, okay, like, isn't that scary and stuff? Like, the stuff that you're saying, like, aren't you scared that, you know, you're putting yourself out there? Like, wow, that's, you know, that's a lot, you know? And I think it's because a lot of people feel like it's, you know, stuff that other people feel like they can't do. They will definitely let you know if it's like outside of their comfort zone, and they'll either say it to your face or they'll say it in their energy. And I think a lot of the times people feel like it's uncomfortable for them, so they probably wouldn't do it themselves. But when they see you doing it, they're seeing like, okay, like she's doing it, and sometimes they'll even put you down. Like, if you're doing something that is like outside of their comfort zone, they'll like unintentionally try to put you down in a way of like telling you like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, or are you sure you want to put yourself out there? Like, aren't you scared about doing this? Like, aren't you scared about saying that? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, you have to still stand by your own opinion, how you feel about it, what makes you happy, how do you resonate with it. And I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with people expressing like their opinions and trying to help you and give you advice on things, right? Like this is what I'm trying to do right now, right? But what I'm saying is that like you can absorb it and receive the information, and then return back to it and think, okay, like how does that resonate with me? Like, do I still want to do it? Do I still want to go for it? Do I still want to, like, how do I feel about this right now, right? Like, after hearing that, what they said, how do I feel instead of being like, oh, okay, well, so-and-so told me that I shouldn't do it because blah, 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 and I think I'm just, like, gonna not do it. It's like, that right there is people pleasing. But if I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking, you know, so-and-so said that, you know, this and that and the other, and it resonated with me when they said this, and after giving it much time and contemplation, after I slept on it, or after I journaled on it, or after I meditated on it, or after I gave it just like a few days, right? Like, I've come to the decision. That is like the key word. Like, you have to come with the thing, like you have to come to a point where you say, I decide, right? Not because of what so-and-so said. You have to say, after much thought, and I decided for myself, this is the best thing for me. And trust me, if you if you allow other people to come up with the decisions for you, because they will definitely tell you what they think is best for you. But girl or man, like, do not allow that. Do not allow that. Do not allow that. I'm going to keep saying it. Do not allow that. Allow yourself to figure out what is best for you. And whatever process that you have, find it, right? Whether, like I said, if it's meditating, going on journaling, going on walks, having a good night's sleep, right? Like, one thing I would always say to myself is, like, if I'm like still trying to come up with like a decision, like I'm still trying to figure something out, I would say to myself, okay, I'm gonna sleep on that, and in the morning I'll know the answer. It'll just come to me, right? That's me trusting the universe and sending out that worry to the universe. That way I don't have to feel the worry. I just fall right into whatever the solution is, right? And I think a lot of the times we get stuck in like the worry phase, right? And so when we stay stuck in that worry phase, we don't allow the solution to come to us. We don't allow the universe to help us. And I think that's where we overanalyze things, right? And it's uncomfortable, right? To be stuck there. And I get it. But sometimes you have to feel that uncomfortability of not knowing, to basically surrender yourself, like your mind, into the solution. Allow that solution to just come to you. I feel like that was a lot. So yeah, let me just look over my notes. So express your opinion. Yeah, okay, so the last thing I just wanted to touch on was, I think where people pleasing kind of starts is like I said, you truly have this good intention to want to help other people, to want to uplift other people, to make everybody happy. But like I said, you cannot help other people if you cannot help yourself. And part of helping yourself is owning your own opinion and how you feel about yourself. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with feeling good. There's nothing wrong with helping other people. And I wrote down here, but if you are the one thinking that, if you are the person that is who does something for somebody to help them and make them feel good, then what you're basically telling them is that you don't trust them to figure out their own problems for themselves, right? And that person is going to come back to you and be like, oh, well, Andrea helped me last time to do this thing that I didn't want to do, so she's going to help me again, and she's going to take care of it again. And so you're not only doing a disservice to yourself, but you are doing that to them, and their confidence is being diminished as well, right? So it's like not only you, it's also their confidence is being diminished as well. And you guys cannot up level from that. You can't go anywhere from that, right? Like, that person's going to feel like they can't trust themselves. They can't move forward. They can't do anything without having other people do things for them, right? When you want to empower other people by being your own individual, right? Owning your own opinion, and naturally, just from owning your opinion, expressing yourself, even if things go wrong or if there's a rebuttal, if something fails, like, at least at the end of the day, you can tell yourself and you can tell other people, like, yes, I made a mistake, or yes, I failed at that. You own it, and at least you can say, I learned for next time, right? And I wish somebody told me that before, and like, trust me, like, I feel like it takes a little while for you to to grasp this information and to truly practice it, but it really does take practice. But I just wanted to give you guys a couple practical tips on how to change the behavior, because we're not here to just talk about manifestation and things of like just wishing upon something. we're also interested in talking about the behavior change. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start small. You're gonna start by saying no to things that you actually feel that do not resonate with you. You're gonna ask yourself, like, how do I truly feel about this? And allow the solution to come to you. And you're gonna own who you are. You're gonna express your opinion, right? You're gonna do things for yourself because that is for you. And then naturally, like I said, you will gain confidence, 100%. It happened to me, and I told you guys my story where I came from. I had every reason to feel unconfident, unworthy, not valuable. Like, I had every reason to feel that way. But look where I am today, right? I'm here, I'm on YouTube, which is one of the most vulnerable things that you can do. Do you know how many people I talk to and they're like, wow, you're doing YouTube? Like, that's really scary. Wow, that takes a lot of courage, you know? And like, hell yeah, it fucking does. Like, of course it does, because you're putting yourself out there for people to see, like, your actual personality and stuff, and you have to own who you are, right? You just do. And so that's why I decided to do YouTube, because I was like, you know what? That's one of the scariest things I thought about. Now it's like not even something that I bat an eye. Like, I actually look forward to making videos. Like, if I don't make a video, I'm just like, ugh, like, I wish I made a video, because it's so, like, for me, it feels so empowering to own my own opinion. And if somebody doesn't agree with me, like, it's still empowering to me, because I'm like, it's like, I still did it, you know? I still went for it. And like, I may have ticked somebody off in the process, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, this is who I am, and I'm not gonna just change who I am just for you. Like, maybe I'll contemplate it, I'll take it into consideration, but I'm gonna actually think about it for myself and do what I wanna do. What's gonna make me happy for the greater good of myself and other people. And that's something that I practice all the time. All the time. Every time I'm like thinking about manifesting anything, like, or just like taking into account of like other people's decisions or taking new actions and all those things, I'm like, okay, so is this going to be of the benefit for myself and others, right? Like, that is my intention. Like, my intention is for the greater good of myself first, and then others. Because again, you cannot help somebody without helping yourself first. Make sure your cup is full before you go on filling other people's cups. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.